Hi all, I'm really pleased to be here. My name is Liliana. I am heading the intelligence team at Syngenta Group. I've been with the company for about 6 years now. My background is mainly in organized crime, so the agricultural industry was sort of new to me. But I'm really enjoying learning more and more and attending webinars and seeing the industry in itself and how we can collaborate a bit more closely. I think it's really good to see. So on today's webinar, basically I'm going to be sharing some of what we do at Syngenta Group and at the Corporate Security Department, and how we tackle basically the illegal pesticide sales. Um, in our team at Corporate Security, it's mainly focusing on traditional corporate security measures, but we have a so-called anti-illicit trade program. So we basically split the programs, and then even within the programs, we're sort of split into online and offline. So my team is responsible for the online detection, which is where we sort of incorporate the AI element to it. And then we have investigators on the ground, and we collaborate with them and also law enforcement to sort of end the investigations in seizures and raids. Some of those were the pictures that were all shared from the previous speakers, and some of Mary's, for example, presentations on the Europol Zero X operations. We work closely with them as well and share intelligence where we can. Um, I guess for me, the context around illegal pesticides and how that has evolved over the past few years or decade even, I would probably say that I think it's really moved from a traditional sales underground into more a complex digital global threat. So what we have observed, particularly after the pandemic, we have seen that a lot of the sales have gone online. So we are observing a lot of e-commerce platforms and social media even now, where we are seeing Syngenta products advertised, and not only Syngenta but competitor products as well as chemicals and active ingredients. So particularly for countries where we are seeing regulations pushed in and sort of stopping the sale of agrochemicals online, we're seeing a shift from e-commerce into social media. And now we are seeing some countries tackling the social media issue and banning them. But it's sort of good in a way, but also I think it's creating the problem of losing visibility on where the products are advertised because they could move into closed groups. And we have seen that in a few countries recently. The other issue that we are seeing is it's a multilingual operation, so the sellers are advertising products in various different languages, which makes it harder for us to track and monitor and enforce. And the last piece that we have sort of issues with is the fragmented intelligence. So different stakeholders would hold on to different intelligence, and that particularly applies to major companies, I suppose, where we have teams on the ground, we have teams on a global scale, and we work with law enforcement and we work with certain regulatory bodies, and we might not have the bigger picture and understand what kind of information we have. So the problem with the illegal pesticides on a digital scale is that the scale of it and also the complexity of it has now really exceeded the traditional enforcement capabilities. So what we do at Syngenta is basically, like Alison's mentioned, we try to tackle this problem with technology and incorporating AI. Um, we have we have been on the lookout for technology to monitor the online space. What we struggled with was we had technologies that focused on either the online part, or we had providers who could support us with the offline part, but we never really had an option where we could incorporate the two. So we come up with our own solution. So we have our own technology in-house that we have built, and it's basically technology looking at the online space, and then we monitor the online space, and that goes for both e-commerce and social media. We also have now, I think, over the past, I'd say 2 years, we have observed a lot of brand protection programs on e-commerce. So we're seeing a shift as well with the e-commerce being a bit more open and willing to support brand owners as well with with the protection. So our own technology is using AI. So the way it works is we monitor the online space and we monitor keywords basically of our targets. So whether those are keywords or product names or active ingredients, and they are specific to region and country. So it's flexible for us, so we can monitor where we see there is an issue. We can adjust the system, we can adjust the technology. And the part where we use AI is mainly with the scale of it. So we are able to um, monitor more and also help us prioritize our work. So we have like a risk scoring that we implement into our technology. So the way it works is we assign certain scores to certain keywords and images. So if we know that there is a product or an active ingredient causing an issue in a certain country, we can adjust the risk scoring accordingly, and that would allow the intelligence team to see the highest priority products basically on top of the queue. So it's still sort of a manual element because so the intelligence team is still monitoring the online space and seeing where the products might be advertised. So that part is still manual and it's still the subject matter expertise of the intelligence team to find where the products might be advertised. What AI helps us with and the technology helps us with is more the scale of it. So we can really monitor and then have that in the background to see what the results are, see if we have any issues in particular countries, see what's being advertised online. And then with the risk scoring, we're able to prioritize our work and then focus on the products that matter the most to the business or the country on a country level. What we then do is we basically try to build a bigger picture. So we have a case management system. We had a previous one as well. So we have data going back about 6 years now. So what we try to do is really map the networks and identify any patterns for countries and regions and products. So we really want to stop the products at source. So we're not really interested in small cases. I mean, we are monitoring and we also have a team dedicated to look at the takedowns and identifying, if there's any regulatory issue, then we tackle that. But what we're really seeing is, like Mary shared on her slide, we are seeing active ingredients or just the chemicals being advertised online. And then we work with providers as well externally to see where those products might be exported to and who's the one importing that. And then using the intelligence that we have going back years, we can really see if those entities we've had issues with or we had any investigations involving those individuals or companies or entities. So we really just want to see basically the network and where the bigger picture is for the investigations.
1 minute, Liliana.
Okay, thank you. And then basically what we then do is, I think this is the most crucial part for us as well, is the coordination. So we have to make sure that whatever we do it together, whether that's the industry or whether that's competitors or whether that's law enforcement, because we can't do it alone. And really we are facing the same problems, potentially the same entities. So for a lot of the regions, we're seeing really good collaborations. Especially when it comes to problems that are impacting the wider industry as well. I think using some of the industry associations as well, we've been able to tackle some of the problems. Basically, that's the end of my presentation. What this allows for us basically is we can really identify the illicit activity sooner. So that helps with like sort of the scale part of it. So the AI and the technology part helps with the scale. And then we can really focus our priority on the cases that matter the most. The intelligence helps us build a bigger picture so we can again be a bit more targeted. And with the enforcement and the cooperation, we can really make an impact because without cooperation, we can't actually get anywhere with the cases. So we're really always on the lookout to make sure that we have good collaboration on the ground and we're willing to share intelligence. We have the capabilities, but it's that working together part where we can really achieve results on the ground. Thank you.
Liliana, that's fascinating, very interesting, and I like the emphasis there on collaboration and prioritization. I think came through clearly as well. It seems a very large and kind of complex issue, and all those different channels, I guess, for reaching out and that illegal trade sort of flows through as well, and communications is Yeah, definitely a challenge for everyone. Just a quick question for you, and then we're going to move on to our speakers from the sort of international framework. So if FAO could maybe load their slides while we're talking, and we're going to hear first uh, from Oksana Permanova, the agricultural officer in the pest and pesticide management team at FAO. But Liliana, just a question for you. We're likely to be going through a period of rising input costs over the next sort of coming days, months. Hopefully not too high, but do you see that is that an issue for this issue with those rising input costs? Is it likely that you'll see more pressure around rising illegal trade of pesticides? Is that something that is of concern?
Yeah, so I think obviously certain actions have certain implications. So I guess it will have implications, and I think for us, it's also important to sort of remember to keep up with all the recent changes. And then for us, it's hard to tackle that on a global scale because with all the regulations changing and certain actions that's impacting our work, and not always we are aware of that because like on a global scale it's hard to monitor even if we have teams on the ground. um we're seeing changes after certain actions, but it's hard to sort of gauge what's going to happen in the future. So I think the best we can do is really just monitor and do our best. And if we know of certain issues causing, really, we get a lot of intelligence from farmers on the ground as well. So we have
Excellent.
our teams on the ground really working closely with them to know of any issues. I guess it goes with the collaboration part as well. So we can only really have actual results if we work closely together, and that goes for farmers, law enforcement. Yeah, competitors either, or we basically have like a open working relationship to tackle sort of issues that would be creating kind of like the health and safety issues on the ground.
Fantastic. Liliana, thank you so much. I think you've probably got some questions in the Q&A. If you can take a look and maybe
Thank you.
answer a few, that would be most appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah, very interesting, and I see there's lots of chat in the chat, and there's some resources that have been shared from OECD there as well that are very useful and on this topic. So thank you so much, Liliana. Thank you, Marie, our